going to talk about wide receivers, and I'm kind of going to do, with the wide receiver drill, I'm kind of going to tag the quarterback fundamentals into it and how we put it both together as well. All right? I think receivers are probably the most undercoached group in football. There's really a lot you can do with them, and usually what they do is they just like run routes or something. All right? But there's a lot that you can do with them. We're going to talk about stance, getting off the football, getting off press coverage if you get pressed. We're going to talk about receiver catching fundamentals. And then I'm going to talk about blocking, which is really important because most kids block poorly at the perimeter. For us, we are now a kind of basically a spread team, an Auburn kind of like team. Clemson, that's kind of what our offense is. And if our perimeter players don't block, you basically can't run the stuff, all right? Because there's a lot of RPOs, there's a lot of bubble screens, a lot of quick screens. We run a lot of jet sweep, and you have to block the edge. So we're really adamant about our receivers being able to block fundamentally. So basically, we have a little system that we go through in practice, and it kind of goes from releases to footwork to catching drills to blocking, all right? And I'm kind of going to go through what it looks like and how we teach it. I know Phil Longo's down there talking wide receivers too, and he probably knows a lot more than I do. But this is basically why I like talking to youth is I got to break it down so it's not like the treasury of drills, like I said with the quarterbacks. I mean, how much time you got? You know, you don't have a whole lot of time. So you got to come up with some things that you think are important that you got to get done in your offense, and then you got to drill it pretty well. And you can't do a million things or they're just good at nothing. So you got to be good at some things that you're actually going to do in your game. And I think that's what happens to a lot of coaches. They just come in and they do 1,000 drills, and it's not applicable to what you're doing on the field. So you want to make sure that when you set up your practice, that your drill correlates into what you're going to do on offense or defense or whatever it is. Is this drill going to help me? Is this applicable to what I'm doing? So if you're going to throw the football, you know, and you got routes and stuff, I mean, is it the routes that you're going to throw? You know, is it, if you're going to block, is it going to be the blocking scheme that you're going to actually have in the game? So you have to kind of figure that out. All right, for us in wide receiver fundamentals, first thing is stance. And so, you know, you got to have a good stance because I'll tell you, if they're lazy out there with their stance, their footwork's going to be bad, all right? Their depth in their routes are going to be poor. It's not going to time up with a quarterback or whatever. So what we want first is we want our head, knee, and toe in line. Basically, we want our knee, head, and toes in line. So I want my front knee bent. We always take our inside foot and put it up. All right, now the reason, you know, a lot of people ask me, why is the inside foot up and not the outside foot or whatever? Because everything for us in our passing game, three-step game, whatever, it's 3 steps vertical. We take 3 vertical steps upfield on almost everything, all right? So if I'm going to take 3 steps vertical upfield, I want my 3rd step to be my outside foot, okay? I want the 3rd step to be my outside foot, so that's an important attribute that you got to do. So when I got my lead foot up, and I'll have the film up there of my guys up there. All right, I'm going to have I want my weight on the ball of my foot. I want my knee bent, front knee bent, and I want my hands up, okay, like this. So I want my shoulders, knee, and toe in line, and I want my hands up. And you'll see our guys, they get lazy, they put their hands down. Now, it's okay, I guess, to have your hands down, but if you get press coverage, you better have your freaking hands up or they're going to jam you and you're going to be stuck on the line of scrimmage. The number one thing, and I don't know about junior football how much press you get, but if you can't get on press, you got nothing. They can walk up and press you, you're done. You got no passing game, you got nothing. You better be able to get off that. So that's the first thing that we're going to drill, all right? But we got to get a good stance. We're going to take off on movement, it says, but now, I don't know about you guys, but our offense, we use a clap. Okay, that's our snap count. And you might want to consider that because, you know, I went to, in the last 2 years, I've been to Auburn's practice 14 times. I've been at Clemson 22. And they clap, and I didn't know why or anything. So when we got there, we walked out, and some of the guys maybe already heard this from my other talks, but when we got to Clemson, when you walk through their practice, they have an indoor field house, then they have a practice field, and then they have another practice field. And so we're walking through the indoor field house, and they're on the second practice field, and you can't really hear anything but like kind of noise, but you could hear the quarterback clapping. And then we were watching the Ohio State play Alabama, and on TV, you could hear the clap on TV. So they're doing the clap because they can hear it through the crowd noise. Now you're going to say, okay, I got 45 parents at my game. What do I need to do that for? Well, the wide receiver can hear the clap, and you're always telling the wide receiver to look at the ball so he doesn't jump offside. I'm telling you, they can hear the clap. So if you want to do that, it's pretty good. We time all our motion up to it. The other thing is say, well, they're going to jump my count. We do a lot of this. We just fake the clap, and the line ain't going to, the center ain't going to snap it because he ain't snapping until he hears it. He's not even looking. So something you might want to consider, okay? Just a little tidbit there. All right, now, we have our stance. Somebody have a question? Okay, we have our stance. All right, that's what we want it to look like. Okay, I want my looking straight ahead. I want my front knee bent, shoulders, knees, and toes in line, foot back. Okay, and we just line our guys up. Get them in their stance, line them up, and I'll send you this PowerPoint too. It has all these pictures on there. And we want to make sure, is our stance low or high? Okay. Well, if the D-back is off us, we can stand tall or taller. But we want to, if you got up press, we want to get as low or lower than the press guy. All right. So your stance is going to get lower if the guy comes up to press you. So he can be tall if they're off, but he's got to get down if they come up to press. That's what we do. Because if we're tall and that D-back sticks his freaking hands in our chest, it's a son of a gun getting off. All right? And if we get off on press and get the ball thrown, it's big plays. So we don't want press. No one pressed us this year. 15 games, no press, none, 0. All right? Because if you can get off, they ain't going to do it. If they can do it, that's all you will see. If they are on film or they're scouting you and they press you and they stop you, you will see it every game. At least for us, everybody's going to be in your face. Okay? I'm sorry, we saw one game of press. We won that game. All right, now, stance, low or high. So if they're off, we can be higher. If they're pressed, we're going to get down so our shoulders are lower than their shoulder. Okay? I want their hands up like this because we're going to have to hand fight them to get released. Okay? So that's kind of how we want to make it look. So he can get a little higher if he's off, and he's going to get lower if he's not. Okay, wide release. We have our weight on our front foot. We're going to drive without a false step. So if your weight is back, he's going to take a false step. He's going to do one of these with his front foot. We want the weight on the front foot so there's no false step off the front foot. We want to drive off the football. All right? We want to determine the depth of the QB for our stance. We want head, toe, and knee in line. We want to drive with our arms. All right? Now, we just use 2 releases. Okay? Now, some of these college teams have multiple releases. We just have 2 releases. We're going to swim or we're going to rip. Okay? And so if we get pressed, we want to get as low as we can. And what we want to do is we want to grab the wrist, clear the wrist, like that. See him clear the wrist, get the hand over the top. Now, Coach, so if he's pressing me, all right, and I'm in this position, I'm just looking at this wrist. I'm going to clear that wrist just like this. Or I'm going to clear his elbow. One of those two. So I want to clear it. Because if he jams up into my chest, I'm done. All right, so I want to clear it to get it away. And then I'm going to get over the top, and I want to get this elbow back, push this, and then get stacked. I want to stack him. I want to get back in line. If I don't, if he pushes me out here, I'm in trouble. Okay? Now, what can happen if I don't clear this good enough, and I go here, and he gets me, I'm in trouble. So I got to clear it and go. All right, so that's the first thing that we do. So we work it, and I put them all up here because we got I don't know about you guys, all right, but I got my offensive line. There's like 10 of them. Quarterbacks 3 or 4, running backs 6, wide receivers 29. Okay, and for 2 positions. Defense, D-line, you know, you got 6 or 7, linebackers, same thing. D-backs, 45, you know. So when you got D-backs and wide receivers, you got lots of dudes because everybody wants to play it. And so we'll line them up, you know, as many as we can, and we pair them up, okay? And we'll just pair them up like this. So we're going to swim really, and say I want to get it stacked. I do it on a line. So I do everything on a line because that's going to be my aiming point. So I want a line, I'm going to clear it with a swim. I want to get stacked back up. I want to get back on the line. So I line them up in the line stack. So I just we put them all down these 5-yard marks, okay? The next thing we do is a punch, and so this is what our guys use the most. They're going to clear the hand again. They clear the hand, and we're going to rip or punch right through. A lot of times we'll just punch, just like this. All right, so we want to rip it through. All right, and that one is a lot easier than swimming, and you know, I like my guys to do that if possible. All right, and that's the one we do. We want to get back in line. So we'll just rep it, and we'll just go back and forth. So you got 2 guys. They'll go from here, turn around, go back the other way. We'll go back and forth, just working that. Take you a minute and a half. Okay, all right. Next thing is the release footwork. So we're going to we can outside release for 3 steps, or we're going to hard jab inside. I want to kind of go over what I mean by this.